Hello and welcome to another episode of Primordial Threads. I'm one of your hosts, Hannah.
I'm Anna, and we are here today with the Pot Thots episode.
Oh, we sure are. And it's so good that we forgot to do an intro. So
This is the
here
end
we
of our
are.
session.
We hope you enjoy this chat.
We invite you to light one up with us and share your pot thoughts in the comments below as we go through this. It's not very organized, guys. I'm gonna be honest.
It's not, but it was a lot of fun, and we do a lot of delineation actually. So I think there's some good examples in there if you're curious on how to kind of interpret what your chart is saying.
It's like the unintentional purpose.
We made our way back.
Yeah, we did.
But thanks for listening as always, and we hope you like this one. Man, the worst part of gym in my experience was every year we had to do the fucking mile.
Oh yeah,
every year you had to run a mile.
Yeah, I'm not fast.
I'm not fast, and I can't fucking run.
I have a Taurus moon, man. I'm made for lifting heavy shit and not like short bursts of energy.
My favorite was when I got to, I think it was 10th grade. You could start, well, they changed the curriculum, and starting in 10th grade, you could choose your gym class, whether you wanted to do team sports or individual sports. And I was like,
that's cool.
Individual, like, fuck that. I don't want to do football. I don't want to do soccer. I don't want to do basketball. I suck at all of that. Give me the lifting. Give me the swimming. Like, we got to swim. We had a pool at the middle school that we could walk to.
Okay, I loved swimming though. The way I have been in water since I was about 6 weeks old. Like my mom started taking me to the pool whenever I was like 6 weeks, and she would like blow in my face to make me breathe in air, and then she would dump me under the water and then pull me back out. And so that's
God.
Yeah, like I knew how to swim underwater by the age of like 4 or something like that.
That's awesome.
It's pretty crazy, but yeah. Sorry.
No, that's great. No, I love that. We did the same thing. Like, so we were homeschooled, so my parents would always find us like sports or something to be involved with in the community. So we did, in the summers we would do like swimming, we would do swimming lessons, and then we'd do like a couple years we did the swimming, or 1 year we did the swim team.
That's
and
cool.
The diving team. I mean, dude, let me tell you, my life, like, I'm also not coordinated, bro. Everything I did, whenever they do with the awards at the end of the year, I was always like, most improved.
Oh.
So bad, bro. And I was like, thanks. Thanks so much for just putting it out there. Like, you suck, but you know what? You definitely improved a little bit. So that was always just so encouraging.
Why does most improved just feel like a Taurus signification too for some reason?
Literally, yes. Like, yes, I will be most improved. Even though I'm not good at this, I will be passable by the end. I refuse to do nothing. Oh my God. So yeah, I would do that. God, being on the diving team was like one of the most terrifying and horrifying experiences of my life, because there was meets. There was competitions. Like,
oh, that'd be so scary.
I had to dive, and then I would be judged. And so I just went to those being like, I'm not going to see a number above a 5 today, and that is fine. That's okay. Like, people ask me why I'm so resilient, because I was 6 years old in the car going to the fucking dive meet. No, I was closer to 8. I was 8-year-old in the car being like, I will get 5, so that'll be fine.
As an 8-year-old. Yeah, oh my gosh.
And then also, so I had, this is all relevant, I also had a like severe fear of clowns and characters.
Oh yes, same.
Like, I would run the other way. I was the kid that followed all the rules, but if there was a clown walking towards me, gone. Gone. Like,
I'm the type that you start saying the word and I get paranoid that there's one in the room with me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Just like,
Like,
okay.
I'm better with it all now, but I remember, like, my mom asking me, I was same age, like, around 7, 8 years old. And she's like, "Why what is it about them that scares them?" And I'm like, "You can't see their face. You don't know who it is." That was what scared me as a small child. I was like, "I don't know who it is. I can't trust it." Like, it wasn't just like, I knew that it wasn't Winnie the fucking Pooh. I'm like, "Someone is in there, and I don't fucking like it. I don't like it."
It could be
So
someone else. Well,
when
it
I
is
was
someone else.
on it is, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what their motives are. They could snap at any second. I'm like, "Why was I afraid of that?" That's a really weird
No,
fear to
it's
have.
not. So it's actually
Okay.
like it's a biological thing where
Oh,
humans are engineered to be afraid of things that look human but aren't, which has
really?
terrifying implications for aliens and cryptids and stuff, because then it's kind of like, why do we have that instilled in us, right? Or like obviously there had to be some evolutionary thing.
Nah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
Are you
that's what I'm
for
saying.
real?
Yes.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it like that's why it is scary. And that makes me question why they ever had clowns as a funny thing. I'm like,
Maybe, like, trying to reclaim it? We're gonna
reclaim.
reclaim this.
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh my god. So I'm just biologically correct, is what I'm
Hmm.
hearing.
Yes,
Okay,
that's what I
great.
took it as. I was like, okay, I am just acting out my biology properly.
I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Nope.
So when I was on the dive team, because it was like like a municipality thing, when they had the summer parade, I think it was like either 4th of July or Labor Day, like one of those fucking parades. Um, the dive team and all of the like community teams got to be in the parade. Like, and so we had a float that we were gonna be on. But the thing was, I knew that there was going to be characters walking by the float in the parade. So at 8 years
Oh.
old, I had to make the choice. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with both my parents, and they're telling me, like, there's going to be characters there. So, like, you don't have to ride on the float if that makes you uncomfortable, which was really great of them. But then also, I'm 8 years old, and they're like, you can sleep on it because I couldn't decide. I'm laying in bed, like, on one hand, I could be in the parade, and that's really awesome. And there's gonna be candy. I'm gonna be with all my friends. There's gonna be characters there, and anything could happen.
Let's delineate what astrology that would be out of your birth chart.
Let's go. I'm pulling up what it would have been. Okay, number one. So, what perfection year would I have been in? Had to be 8 years old.
Let me look.
Between 8 and 10. So
You'd been in the
it's
seventh house?
if it was no, it's
You
one
were eight, you would
behind,
have
isn't
been in
it? So it would have been
seventh.
a ninth house year.
Wait, if you
Because
were eight?
it's a ninth house year.
Oh yeah.
Because when you're
If you're eighth,
zero,
ninth house year, yeah.
I was telling Austin about this last night. I'm like, listen to me. Perfection years are a pain in my ass. Because when you're 0 years old, you're in your first house perfection year. And then when you're
Yep.
one, you're in your second house. And you'd think it'd be easy. But once you pass 11 years old, you're fucked. And I'm like,
True, true.
it I'm always like, I need the wheel. I need Chris Brennan's wheel because I can't do that in my head.
It's me with the wheel, if it
I'm
will show up.
literally,
It
yep,
won't. Well, I have the wheel.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, so ninth house.
okay, so that checks out. Even 10th or 11th house checks out as well. Because if it
Foreigners,
was,
foreign places,
yeah, because all of those are
characters
related
from
to
unknown.
Saturn too. So from
Mhm.
my ninth house year is Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. 10th house year, Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. 11th house year, Pisces, placement of Saturn. So like I have three,
Mhm.
any of those would have made sense. Because I was definitely between 8 and 10 years old. Definitely. And that was what was so frustrating too, is like, so anything that it was never like I did swimming, my sister did gymnastics, and so did dance. No, it was we're all doing swimming and diving, we're all doing gymnastics, we're all doing figure skating. So you would not only be competing with all the kids around you, but then also your own siblings. So
That
my
just sounds
sister and
awful.
I was the oldest. So you would expect me to be the best, right? Because oldest, most no, no. My younger sisters are always, well, sister and brother, were always beating me out. Even when Ricky would like had no fear. I was afraid as fuck of diving. Like I'm a tourist, like moon. Keep me on the ground. No, thank you. But then Abby and Ricky are like the Aquarius moon and the Sag moon. They're like, yeah, we'll fucking do it. Watch. I'm like, God damn it. Oh my God, so bad. So they'd be beating me out, and like, as a kid, it's like, that's okay. Why is Hannah resilient? Because I was dealing with all of this at 8 years old. I was like, I refuse to let this crush me. I'm gonna be good at something.
Oh my God.
And then I found choir, as a good Taurus moon should, and here we are.
Just gotta find your niche, you know?
What a great phrase, Anna. I
I
could not have
know.
said it better. In
So
fact, I've never said that better in my head.
I feel like the weirdest thing for me whenever I was a kid is I was like 6. Okay. And I was hitting my mom with the existential questions of like, Mom, how do we know we're not dreaming whenever we're awake? Like, how do we know that we woke up? How do we know that life isn't just a simulation? Like, I was saying this at 6.
When you were 6, get out.
And I was like, oh my God, what a fucking Saturnian existence. And like the Aquarius is so loud because it's just me.
How old was your mom when she had you?
I think she was like 34.
Okay. Okay.
So she was older whenever she had me.
That is
So she was
interesting.
in an 11th house Taurus year when she had me.
Oh, okay. So she was 11th house Taurus year when she had you. And then you said
Mhm.
this was when you were 6.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. She would have been like a 5th, 6th house year when you're asking her these fucking questions.
And
Getting
I was
creative
me
with her
and a
responses.
I was in like a 7th house year, so I would have been exploring the themes of outside of self and like
Ugh.
what was going on in the world, you know?
Yeah, I
Um,
love perfection years for kids. Like that is so funny to like watch the growth through.
but it just makes me laugh because I could tell like my mom was just like, oh my God, what is this child? Because my sister wasn't that way, you know, she didn't ask those questions of my mom.
Oh my
And
God.
then I was just out here. And I was also really on like, okay, well, what is truth? Like I would ask that a lot too.
Holy shit. The
And then
Sag Mercury is like, I need to know
I
now.
was like, I need to have a definition ASAP. And then all of the stuff in the Bible, I would just be very literal with it, you know, where
Yeah.
it was all of the just mechanical questions of like, okay, well, like, so how do the souls travel? And why are there restrictions on certain souls being in there, but others not? And like, how do we distinguish
Ooh.
between life and soul? Because you say that these things.
Wait, what do you mean mechanical? These are not mechanical questions. When you said mechanical, I'm thinking questions like, so like what do the donkeys eat? And who feeds them? Like that's what my brain goes.
Oh, my brain goes to like the physics of Earth. I don't know. I'm also very clouded by the fact that I am a scientist. So it is
Now
like
you are, but like as a kiddo, you were still asking shit like this.
I don't think, okay, the last few questions, I don't think those were necessarily verbatim what I was asking. The first
Gotcha.
ones, yes, those are verbatim, but the last three where it got real deep, I was not asking that
Those
at
are all
6.
fair questions though.
No.
Yeah.
But it was more of like the idea where I think I actually asked, like, okay, well, why are dogs not allowed into heaven? And like,
Mm-hmm.
why did they not have souls, but we do? And I was never satisfied with the answers. They kind of sucked.
No, they always give you such like metaphors or like not a straight answer. I always remember being like el- 11, 12, 13 in church, maybe a little bit older too, and just being like, why can't we raise our hands and ask questions? Because this doesn't make sense. Like, why?
Right.
I have a question. Also, my other thing was like, so so we were like religious. Like, I would be in church and making notes on the guy's sermon and be like, that's not correct.
That's
Because
not
the
correct.
pastor would get something fucking wrong and I would know the Bible well enough to be like, that is not what it says. But why would you? No, it's somebody else. You're telling the story incorrectly right now. I would be so mad. So shit like that would happen all the time. Like, cause I just memorize that shit.
I love that that was a church activity, which would be a group and meeting of people coming to one place intentionally and you having an 11th house Saturn and you kind of like judging the group of place that
Yes.
you were intentionally at. Mhm.
Yep. Yep. It was all intentional. I was taking notes. I was
Yeah.
taking fucking notes because that Mars opposing Saturn and Virgo was like, pay attention.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. There's something here.
Damn. I feel like I was always daydreaming in church. I don't feel like I ever actually paid attention.
That makes sense. I would find myself doing that. I really did try though. Like I was always just trying to understand. That's always been something like I feel like that is so ninth house, like Neptune, Uranus together. And
Hmm.
so just like wanting to like pierce through whatever the fuck it is and like figure it out.
Yeah.
Dude, Pluto is hitting all that shit for me right now. Pluto's so I have this super fun thing where Uranus is at 28 degrees of Capricorn and then my sun is at 27 degrees of Cancer. So
Hmm.
Pluto has just been like just like stationing on my sun degree, stationing on my Uranus degree. Like, okay, like this is good. This time it'll station at 26 instead of 27. You know,
One
great.
degree off. I
1
mean,
degree off.
still,
It's all good.
you'll still feel it.
Oh, I'm gonna feel it. Oh my god, yeah.
Do
So
you
that's
think we
been.
should say hello and welcome?
I
Because
think at
we've
this
just,
point we're adding an intro so much earlier. It already happened. We're gonna re-record that
okay.
and put it at the beginning as an explanation because
Okay.
yeah, at this point, it's all relevant.
Yes. I feel like we're too far in, or
We're way
it'll
too
just,
far in. Thank
it's
you to
just all gonna
future
have to be
us
here.
who recorded this intro. Y'all rock.
Y'all are great.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, there's been a lot
Is
of.
this what the enclosure is?
This is the benefic enclosure. Yes, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so today we have a nice the moon has just moved into a benefic enclosure, which means that it is the closest aspects it's having right now are between the two benefics, which are
Mhm.
Venus and Jupiter. So right now it is squaring, it's at like 4 degrees of Cancer, going up about to be at 5, squaring Jupiter at 4 degrees of Aries, and then sextiling Venus. It's still a bit away from Venus. Venus is about like 16 degrees of Virgo, but I mean, I don't think it, from what I saw, I don't think it aspects any other planets until that. So that's nice. And then the malefics are not touching it. So Saturn's chilling in Aquarius,
Mhm.
not aspecting Cancer. And then Mars is in Gemini, not
Mhm.
aspecting Cancer, which is so fun. And then it's in Cancer, so it's like
Yeah.
home. It's so nice.
It's like this little respite within
Ah,
all of the bullshit of September.
dude,
And I
September has been
think
a shit show.
I saw S.J. Anderson's tweet. I was looking at the name. I wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget who it was. I
Nice.
saw S.J. Anderson's tweet earlier today, and they were talking about how it's this nice little nurturing energy.
Yes, I saw that
So
too.
I feel like that's good.
Yeah, especially right after that moon Mars, like we were talking about earlier. So like when Mars ingressed into Gemini from Taurus, the moon was already in Gemini. It
Hmm.
was a little bit further along. So Mars, we've had moon Mars in Gemini already, but they didn't aspect, they weren't conjunct, they were just co-present. So the last 3 days, which would be September, like I think it was 16th through 18th, or maybe on the 15th it ingressed into Gemini. But from there had our first like Moon Mars conjunction in
Hmm.
Gemini. I don't even know when the last time we had a Moon Mars conjunction in Gemini was. Let's take a look. But I definitely think I felt that because I did a lot of fun things the last 2 days, but they were like 12-hour days, and I'm fucking
Yeah,
exhausted.
it's just a lot to get through.
Yeah. Just so like especially with the moon being your body and Mars just being this constant thing, constant insatiable desire. Is that a good way to put Mars? As like a constant
Oh,
insatiable
sorry.
desire. No, you're good. I was thinking.
I zoned out. Um, I don't know, because sometimes, like, whenever I think of insatiability, I always think of the North Node,
Mm,
but I
mm-hmm.
mean, it's also not a planet, so
No, go back.
I guess for planetary stuff, I definitely think of Mars as desire, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh, sorry, I just found the last Mars in Gemini.
oh, when was
Um,
it?
it was holy fucking shit. Uh, ingressed on March 4th of 2021. And that's when the North Node was in Gemini, which is funny that we were just talking about the North Node because all of
Hmm.
the it was while the sun was in Pisces. So the first moon Mars was pretty much conjunct the North Node too. Wow, interesting.
Oh,
Around
dang.
March 19th of 2021. I'm trying to think what significantly was happening around then. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's when I was unemployed because I quit my job at the end of January 2021. And then I'd like, bro, oh, that was the worst. I tried to get, I did get a job, and then there was a hiring freeze due to COVID. So then they were like, JK, you can't work here anymore. And I was like, oh, sucked
Oh,
so
that's
bad.
terrifying.
Sucked
All of the
so bad.
working stuff getting so messed up during COVID. Whew.
Hmm. Oh, it was the Uranus Saturn square in Aquarius on the degree of my midheaven,
Oh, shit.
right?
I'm trying to think what was happening around then. I
That
think
is so literal.
Lane was buying my engagement ring around then.
Oh, that's a
Like
second
that.
housey thing.
Yeah. And I think he was starting to talk about quitting his daytime 9 to 5 job around that
With
time.
Saturn, what degree is his midheaven at?
Let me see. 'Cause I
Yeah,
do
because
not
I
remember.
remember who was it? Was it Rush Limbaugh that died on the Uranus Saturn square?
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was somebody like that.
I don't remember. His MC is at 25 of
Okay.
Capricorn, but his is in
Oh,
Capricorn because he's the weird.
interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
he
right. You're
doesn't have
right.
anything in
But you
Aquarius,
said
but it is his
25?
10th house.
I mean,
Yes.
that was when Pluto was on his MC.
Oh yeah. Sorry, there were major changes happening.
Yeah, major
That
transformations in the
hmm
career realm. That's right on my Neptune. That's what was really interesting for me too. Like Saturn going through my ninth house was me deconstructing.
hmm Yeah.
And
I
now
feel like
Pluto's just been doing the wrap up on the Uranus and Neptune placements, like, all right, we're gonna sift this shit out like once and for all.
yeah.
And I've definitely been reckoning with like what I believe and everything since Saturn ingressed into fucking Capricorn, man.
Dude, that's such a good signification and like idea for that too.
Hmm.
Because I feel like Lane has really been kind of diving into like his morals and kind of like what is he willing to do and what is he willing to sacrifice in
Hmm.
relation to be able to get what career goals he wants, and like
Yeah.
what is he going to be uncompromising on and like what is it okay for him to have some wiggle room with?
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, I'm looking at the timing of Saturn go through Capricorn now.
Oh gosh.
It was pretty much right after I quit my first job. I quit teaching right after I started it.
Hmm?
And then it ingressed into Capricorn when I started my new journey of like finding what career path I actually want to go down. It was a really transformational time for me in Austin's relationship. We learned a lot in there. And then it looks like I went back to church. I started going back to church a lot actually. I was like super involved in my church for a while.
Really?
Yup. Right when it was opposing uh right when it was opposing my Venus Mercury conjunction.
That's really spot on.
Yep. And then um that Saturn Pluto conjunction. That's when it started. When I started like kind of
Hmm.
peeling back the I don't know, the veneer.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I've never looked at that timing before so clearly.
When was Pluto at 14 and when was it at 17?
Of Capricorn?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, let me see. I
So
have to
to
go
look
back
at
a
what the
little bit
dates were.
further. Do you want Saturn or do you want Pluto?
Oh crap. Actually, let's go with Saturn. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Let's see. 14. Did I already hit a retrograde? I don't know. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of the hits. No, it's stationed at 11. So stationed at 11. Went back to like 2. Oh, by the way, I'm using Astro Future for anyone who's curious.
This is very high tech as we do it on our phones instead of
Oh yeah, we could, but I just like Astro Future because I pay for the the time travel
Oh,
thing, so
that's
I can
nice.
go back so far and I can just slide the date and I can see all of the movements, which I really, really
That's
like.
nice.
Let's see here. It's like $5 of my life. Okay.
Worth.
Yeah, it looks like around Wednesday, the 23rd of January in 2019. So it would have been, yeah, the end of January 2019 is when it would have been at 14.
Okay.
And then the other one was 17.
Hmm.
Um, the end of February into the beginning of March 2019.
Okay, I know what happened during that time, but I don't feel like it's something I can share with the podcast. So I'm not going to
No
say.
worries.
However, I will say, yeah, felt
Wait,
that.
and then it's stationed back. Oh wait, hold on. Did it go all the way back? Yeah, dude. You got more hits on those same degrees.
Okay, what
I
dates?
around like the second week of July was the
Okay.
18. I'm sorry, 17.
Okay, second week of July.
And then I think it's stationed on 14 degrees in September.
Damn.
Does that hit?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like it went from, it's like a story that started at the end of January and didn't get wrapped up until that end of
September.
September. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then was there any like finality that came like around Thanksgiving?
Would that have
Because that would
been
have been the
Thanksgiving
last
of
hit of 17.
2019?
Yeah, that would have been the last hit
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
um, so Lane and I got back together the day after Thanksgiving in 2019. Hmm.
Wow. That is. I have chills, bro. That
Dude,
is.
I'll
And
tell you what the whole thing was
yeah.
if you want, but I just don't feel like
No, 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 that's
it's too
totally
personal.
fine. But I mean, no, that's completely understandable. But it's wild that like the Saturn through your like every hit
Yeah.
of those retrogrades had significance. I'm telling you, Saturn, y'all.
Well, and I think also we should tell for the people. Saturn is my chart ruler, and it was
Yes.
the 14 degrees is my sun, and then the 17 was my, oh wait, 14 was my ascendant, and 17 is my sun.
Yeah.
So all of those things.
Every time you got hit, something significant happened and it all kind of
Hmm.
tied together in one story.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Hmm.
That's how you can track it. I feel like Saturn is a really good tracker. I mean, and that those were so significant for you because it was your first house.
Yes. And it was like
And it did
things
change your
that, oh my
I
God.
yeah.
It was like, I would say that this was probably the sequence of events that made me grow up, which is very
Wow.
like, hello, Saturn. I was
Wow.
very like assuming stability, responsibility, and commitment, and like finally assessing commitment as a thing. And like really dealing with, was I ready for that?
Yeah.
Is it time for that? And that's just
I
throughout that
can't
whole
believe
thing.
that. Woo.
That's pretty crazy. I had never put those events with it.
Right? Dude. I have been doing that kind of with my so Saturn's now in Aquarius. It's transiting my 10th house.
Mhm.
Um and it's been a fucking journey, bro. I have been marveling at Saturn's journey like through my chart and like how loud the whole thing has really shaped like the overarching events of and like structure of my life. Like
Yeah.
when it was transiting my ninth house, like that was all I could like that was huge growing up, huge like perspective changes, huge like going back to church was huge for me
Yeah.
as a like and who I was as a person. Like, and I can see on those hits where it hit opposed my Venus. I really did have moments of like, what do I actually want? What do I
Mm.
actually, and I'm trying to think, would have aspected my, no, it wouldn't have aspected my Jupiter. Um,
That feels like values too. Like, what did
mhm.
you value?
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, oh God, and then I guess it did apply to a trine with my Mars. I wonder when that happened. December of 2020. Oh, I was fully witchy by then. I was like so far in. Oh my God. Whoa. Wait. I want to see if it was on. It was on my Neptune when I tried LSD.
That's amazing.
Shut
Okay.
up.
That's
Shut
awesome.
up. Yo, that's amazing. And that was after it had already dipped into Aquarius a little bit.
Hmm.
So it came back.
I feel like I should track
Interesting.
what it's been doing through my stellium, but I feel like I know what it's been doing through my stellium. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, no, you can definitely, yeah,
Like, I feel like the dates would just make me laugh.
yeah. And then you pair that up with zodiacal releasing, and you're like, I'm gonna
Hmm.
throw up.
Like, all right.
All right, great. Man, it started with me looking at last time we had Mars Moon, and what a delicious turn it took because
This
I
is,
love
yeah.
Saturn. We've been
Are
talking
we
about how we
simps
want to
for
do,
Saturn?
we are. But just
Damn.
because, I mean, I'm about to have my Saturn return, so I'm like, I really gotta be simping for Saturn. Like, I don't got a choice at this point. If I want to survive this shit, like,
You gotta make friends.
I know. I was tweeting with Bad Pastor last night,
Mhm.
um, about, hold on, let me find the tweet because she pointed it out, like, what March of 2023 is gonna look like, and I was like,
Oh, is it all of the ingresses and stuff? Oh my gosh, I saw
mm-hmm,
that and I was
okay.
like, I'm gonna puke just because I know my Zodiacal releasing for March too.
I want to look at it right now after I read this. On March 7th, Saturn enters Pisces for the first time since 1994. So
Mm.
thus beginning my Saturn return.
Yep.
On March 23rd, Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time since 1777.
Yep. On my Venus.
My guy. For the first time since 17. I said this to Austin last night and he just looked at me like,
It's a long time.
and that year, and I was like, yeah, one of the years of the Revolutionary War and everything started. And he's like, stop.
He's like, oh no.
I'm like, yeah, no, we're here. And then on March 25th, Mars enters Cancer after 7 months in Gemini. So we get all of that. Like, that is so many changes.
Yep.
Both the malefics moving into a water sign at the same time.
Yep. And then I have my loosing of the bonds happens on the 27th.
So that's got to be big. So what? That's
Oh yeah.
ingressing into your, I have to look at a chart, into your third house and your sixth house.
And
Interesting.
then the loosing of the bonds is in Sag, which is my 12th house, with my Mercury. So
I don't think that actually sounds too bad though.
I
That sounds interesting to me. Hold on, I gotta see my.
I don't know what it's gonna be, but
I
we'll
don't
see.
know. I mean, third house and sixth house, that's like
Well,
work,
Mars
communication.
Cancer's my 7th house though,
Oh, sorry.
because
I'm
Gemini's
thinking
no, no,
my
you're
bad, my
good.
bad.
Yeah, it's been going through my 6th house, so
Gotcha,
or
gotcha,
it's
gotcha.
going to be going
Oh,
through
so
it.
it's gonna be 3 and 7 and
Yeah, which
12.
feels really relationshipy,
Mm-hmm.
very concerned with the
Neighborhood, community, like
yeah, what's
your daily
around.
life, your routines.
Hmm.
Huh.
The deep inner workings.
Uh-huh. Is that a loosing of the bonds for spirit or fortune?
Let me look.
Let me
I
see
have
what
my handy
else you have.
dandy honeycomb
I do too
collective
somewhere. I
thing.
think it's in the other room. Oh well.
I have pictures of it on my phone because
Oh
I leave
yeah.
it at work because I look at it
Mm,
more at work, I
that
think.
makes sense. Well,
It is from Spirit.
I'll be peaking on level 3
Ooh.
in Leo. Oh, fuck me. Leo ones have been rough for me lately, but that's okay. What's Leo doing in my chart? Well, Leo, for me, Leo's ruled by my sun in Cancer, so it's like I can't see it.
I feel like everything to do with Leo has been about your dad though lately.
It has. So
Mm.
we'll
But
see. I mean,
it's
that's kind of we're thinking of moving Faith in with us in the my little sister moving in with us in January,
mm,
but
yeah,
we'll
that would be
see.
cool.
Yeah.
It is a L2 loosing of the bonds from Spirit.
Oh, baby.
So, career. Hello.
Woo-hoo-hoo. That's what I'm saying. You said 3 and 7,
hmm
and then your Mercury is activated. Activated? Activated.
Activated, which rules my sixth house. Yeah. And then
That
Pluto's going to be
feels
on my Venus that rules my 10th house.
feels very career. Feels
Mhm.
very career.
Yeah. So,
Interesting that Cancer is being activated. I'm not gonna say anything else.
oh, are you thinking it's like this career
It's
related?
me. No.
It's me. It's
No, it could be
Brittany,
so many
bitch.
things. It's pretty bitch. I do go into L4 peak in my career on March 8th, the day after Saturn ingresses into Pisces.
That's cool.
That's adorable. Loosening of the bonds later that month on L4. But is this fortune or is this spirit? No, this is spirit.
Yeah. I've been really interested to see what that period does for like the past year. So
Mm,
I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, wow, have I built it up so much that it's just not going to do anything whenever I get there? And then I'm going to be sorely disappointed. I don't know.
I don't
What's up?
think so. No, I don't think so. It could, well, who knows? You never know how it's gonna freaking. No, I just forgot that I've been in an L3 peak period since June 15th in my 4th house.
Aw.
Well, loosing of the bonds.
Oh, well,
And I had 2 grandparents pass away, which is fine, but it's like
less cute.
that's very, and then I had Saturn in the 4th house of my solar return.
hmm
So I kind of knew it was going to be a year focused on like ancestry and potential loss and a lot of change familially.
Yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
yeah,
I actually had a thought about
yeah.
Saturn fourth house today.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so while I was in the shower, I was just thinking about astrology, like you do,
Like you do daily.
And I was like, man, sometimes fourth house Saturns, is it really that we have to take care of our family like that? Or is it because we appointed ourselves to do it? Because we think that we have to police everybody or nobody else will.
It may depend on your experience. I think with you having a Mars ruled Saturn, that is definitely, yeah.
hmm
Yeah. And having maybe a
Yeah.
domicile Saturn may do the same thing.
hmm That kind of authoritative Saturn almost.
Like I'll
Yeah.
do it because nobody else can.
Yeah, because I was thinking about
Oh,
that in relation to one of my examples for the delineation, and I was like, why am I always the person that's like yelling at my family, for
dude,
their
yeah.
mistakes?
What
And
is
then
that?
I was like, it could really just be that it is me, and as an Aries Saturn, I've just decided that it's my job to do it.
I think that is something I can definitely see in the Aries Saturn generation.
hmm
Because so many of you guys are just very you are just like that. You'll do it. You'll just do anything because you have to do it. Like I'm gonna do
hmm
it because it's gonna get
There is
done.
no other
There's
option.
not another option. We have to do it. And I feel like the Pisces Saturn generation that came before you, mine is very much like, but have you considered how hard it might be? Like, I don't know. Not to say that we're incapable. I feel like the Pisces Saturns are just very much more like, we just gotta feel our way through this, guys. Like, it's really important we all get in touch with our feelings before we move forward with this, okay?
Oh,
Like,
it's like the mutable water versus the cardinal fire. Like, oh my God, okay.
night and day.
Like, hello, yin versus yang. You know what I mean?
100%. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, like last night we were Austin and I have been talking about Pisces for like so very long. There's just so many Pisces in our lives right now. That we are having some conflicts with, and that's
Hmm.
fine. That's natural. Things like that happen. Our Pisces friends are getting a square from Mars right now, and that's rough, and I get
It's
that.
tough.
So they're going through a challenging time, and everybody had, we're all here, we have to deal with it. So he was just like, going on one of his Pisces rants. And I was like, Austin, you're an Aquarius rising. And he goes, fuck, I keep forgetting about that. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay, don't worry. He's like, but I'm a Scorpio sun and a Sag moon. And I'm like, fuck yeah, you are, baby. So it's like, okay,
That's
I'm
so cute.
Aquarius Saturn. And I'm like, yeah, that means you're ruled by Saturn. And you know where your Saturn is? In Pisces.
Hmm.
And he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And that's why it's like for him, it's Pisces suns that challenge him. And like we were saying earlier, like Sun Saturn synastry is hard. Like
It's
that
really
is,
hard.
it's very much like the Saturn person wants to like bring order and control to that area, and
Hmm.
the Sun just wants to express it. It doesn't care about how it's organized. It just wants to be.
Yeah. The only person I've ever met that has the Sun Saturn that I was fine with in synastry wise is she has her sun on her Saturn on my Saturn. And so she's also a
Uh-huh.
first house sun, but it's so then we have the angle
Ah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. And that's very
it works.
nuanced. Yeah,
Yeah, and it works
exactly.
out just fine. We were
Mm-hmm.
research partners and
Oh yeah,
that feels very Sun Saturn all over the place
definitely.
relationship.
Yes.
So
That's
anyways,
cool. Yeah,
sorry, keep
no.
going. But
No, but
generally
that
it
was a
sucks.
great. Well, and it sucks because the one person is focused on like, so I feel like Saturn is this very like internal knowing and internal expression. Um
Mhm.
because it doesn't need to express it. It just needs to know it and then do the thing
Mhm.
to get the thing done in that area. Whereas the sun is like wants to externalize it. It wants other people to see it and wants it to like be out there and known. So
Mhm.
where we've been coming into issues is like we go into an environment and we like know what the issue is and we want to just work with it and like be it. But other people, like the Pisces suns that we're experiencing, are just like they want to just spread it out and talk about it in a way that is maybe not like constructive. Hello, that's a
Mhm.
very Saturn word. And we want to be
Yes.
constructive where they want to be more expressive, which is,
Ah,
you
yeah.
know,
Mhm.
so
That
we're,
is the Sun Saturn.
yep. So that's been a very interesting thing to see. And I'm just like, like other people are experiencing these things that we just like have, we want to be constructive and intuitive about. They want
Mhm.
to just talk about it. They want to be expressive about it. Like it's important that other people know how they're experiencing it. Whereas that's
Yeah.
not important to us. That's not a Saturn thing. That's a sun
Yeah.
thing. So I thought it was a very interesting moment of like, oh, this is Sun Saturn in real life.
Yeah.
Like this is
And
without me even thinking about it intentionally. I was like, oh fuck.
when it's that expression versus obligation, you
Mm,
know?
totally.
Mhm.
And that's a thing too, because it's kind of like in a one of the environments we're having that conflict is in a professional environment.
Mhm.
So we very much want to be going in there constructively and like figuring out the plan and being very professional, like work about it.
Mhm.
And the other folks are very, our Pisces friends are very emotionally invested, and it's more of an expression thing for them. So they're not
Yeah.
really as invested in this, like let's do this in this way. So it's like it's just been interesting. It's very
Yeah.
interesting. And astrology's definitely been helping me like navigate it.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
like,
and it's one of those like it's hard to balance, you
yeah,
know? And it's hard to see the other side of it.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, and Sun and Saturn, like even the temperament, like Saturn is cold, Sun is
Mhm.
warm. Like they're very, very opposite. Um, they both have a bit of dryness to it, but like, ooh,
Saturn's like
ooh,
freezer burned
yeah,
dry
yeah,
though.
yeah. And the sun's just crispy, and you're like, oh, it's not good, not good, not two good feelings together. Not
Ugh.
so. No, it can be supportive in And that's what I think what I've been trying to do, of course, as the person who's the Saturn representative in this situation. Like I'm like, I want to find a way to like build a container for that expression and like make it so that it can be expressed, but in a way that serves the greater collective. Hello, Saturn in my 11th house. Like it's so funny. Astrology is so literal sometimes. Like if you let it, if you really think
Mhm.
about it. And that's why I think it's so important to have like very basic delineations for planets, like just
Mhm.
understanding what their basic wants and actions are, like what it is they do
Yeah.
on a very basic level. So it's
Mhm.
easy to apply.
And I think like the planets give the intention into the
Mm,
astrology, you know?
hmm.
So it's kind of like if you're looking at a transit or something, what is that planet wanting? What does it want to
Hmm.
accomplish? And how well
Ooh,
can it accomplish that based on what sign it's in? And then you think,
yeah.
okay, where is it accomplishing that? That would be
The
like the
house.
house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great. Yeah, no, exactly. I can't remember if I got this from someone else, but it's been something that lives in my head for such a long time. But imagining the zodiac as a neighborhood, like a circular neighborhood.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when like Saturn is in Pisces, that's Jupiter's house. What does the house look
Mhm.
like? What is it filled with? Like, what is the house built for? Like, Pisces to me would like definitely have an indoor pool that's like filled with like creatures and like
Yeah.
algae and other shit. And Saturn comes in here, is like, what the fuck? You're
Saturn's
not
like,
supposed to
where?
have that inside. Is there a filtration system? Is it chlorinated? Can the animals breathe? Who's feeding them? And it's like
Yeah.
trying to like
Put this
do that.
order.
And then if Jupiter came in, it's like it's just a pool and would cannonball into it. Like
Yeah.
so it's funny. I like thinking about it in a simple way like that. I don't know. I like to make a picture in my head to make it like
Mhm.
illustrated.
I think that's cute. And I like that example of thought. Austin uses that a little bit in his course, and he's kind of
Ooh,
like, you know,
maybe he's the one who said that. Like I
maybe.
think I heard him on the astrology podcast say something like Saturn's in Jupiter's house when he's in
Yeah.
Pisces. I think that might have been Austin Kopic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like a planet owns two houses except for the sun and the moon. They just have one
Hmm.
house, right? And they're in
Yeah.
charge of it. They're responsible um for it ultimately, but there
Hmm.
is another person basically being the tenant of it, if you
Uh-huh.
will,
Ooh,
and like
yeah.
living in it, you know. And so
Hmm.
if they are in mutual reception with each other, it's like they know each other's phone number and they can call each
Mm.
other whenever they need help. So it
Hmm.
mitigates any of the inadequacies that they have if they're not
Hmm.
in a house that they are comfy in. It's not one of their home houses, right?
Hmm.
Or like they're exalted or their exalted
Yeah.
house. Yeah, that they'll be able to get some mitigation from that because they can like call like, hey, this sprung a leak. What do I do to fix it?
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. And ooh, I like how that sounds. So that to me sounds like where the aspects are.
mhm,
Like when you go into the neighborhood, when you look at a chart, like where are all of the tenants and the owners right now? Do they
yeah.
have access to each other? Who's having a hard time getting their landlord on the line? But
Mhm.
then when you think about delineating those planets and those signs, that's when you can think about Mars as a character living in Gemini's house.
Yeah. Does it have what it wants or what it
Yeah.
needs to do its job?
Yeah. That is so
Does
cool.
it
I
have
want to
its
do a whole
uniform?
literally. Yeah, and I'm imagining oh man, I mean, I always loved House Hunters, watching House Hunters or like House Hunters
Same.
International and shit. Yes. Let
I
me
love
tell you.
interior decorating, let me tell you.
So then I'm just imagining what each of the planets' houses would look like the ones that have two. Like what would Capricorn house look versus Aquarius house? And it's so
I have
fun.
I have
So
thoughts.
fun.
I
Go,
have
go.
thoughts. Okay, so I feel like Capricorn's house would be this marble structure. Don't ask me how it would be marble on the outside, but it would be. I don't know. And then it would have like some golden gates or some shit, like that
Ooh.
level and like the perfectly trimmed hedges that just block everybody out where you can't see
Oh
in.
yeah, and just
Yeah,
impeccable architecture.
impeccable architecture.
Impeccably done, not a
Yes.
stone out of place.
And I feel like everything is earth tone. There is no color. It is
No
just
color.
brown. It is like brown
Yes.
and white
Brown,
and
white, black,
black.
and then natural minerals like
Yes.
gold or silver,
Yes.
bronze.
Like
Mm-hmm.
very natural
Yes.
materials, but decadent AF,
Yeah.
basically.
Plants
Mhm.
probably, but like very like well
Manicured.
kept, manicured plants.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Not
Whereas
the wild plants.
Aquarius would be like futuristic,
You say that, but I
like
actually feel like the Victorian maximalism is the Aquarius vibe, okay? And
oh.
that's just mine personally. If
Yeah,
I
you have
had,
Venus in there, so she's like,
yeah,
eh.
she's like, hello, let's put every texture known to man in
Yeah,
one room. And I'm like, great.
literally. Great, sounds good.
I love that.
That's funny.
But
Virgo,
yeah.
I'm thinking is a log cabin in a funny way. You know what I mean? Just like the structure, like it's perfectly and there's like a garden. It's a very functional dwelling. Very
Yes,
functional.
very. I feel like it would have a rock garden though. Don't ask me why, but like a little zen rock garden. I feel like
Yeah.
that's very Virgo.
Oh God, yeah. Yes. And like Gemini would be very clean lines, very sleek,
Hmm.
very like the other side of Mercury. That's kind of like I feel like it would have like pops of like modern art and shit.
Hmm. I feel
Um,
like it would be the one where it would have installed wall bookshelves where the
oh
walls would be bookshelves. You know
yeah.
what I
Oh
mean?
God, yeah. Whereas Virgo's bookshelves would be like probably thrifted and like just really well worn copies. Like Gemini's would be very like, oh
Yes,
God,
very
yeah.
like modern angles
Yeah.
everywhere.
I love that. See, this is I feel like this is such a fun way to delineate because then you get the character of the sign and
Yes.
the like planet and their duality. It's
Mhm.
so fun. Oh my God.
I also feel like Mercury would be the type that would have the coolest kitchen for some
Oh
reason.
yeah,
I
all the
don't know. Like,
gadgets.
yes, like everything, they would be the type where it would have the stove where the crystal is overlaid on top and it like heats through
Oh,
the top
yes.
part. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
I
I
feel like that would
do.
be very Mercury ruled
Yes.
kitchen.
Oh my God, yeah. And all like oh like the newest like espresso machine and like grinding their own
Hmm.
beans. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh yeah, I love that. Mercury.
Yeah.
I would stay in Mercury's houses
Yeah, because
for
you gotta
sure.
think like the mutability, right? It would be things
Mm-hmm.
that would be so functional and just blended in where you wouldn't really notice. I feel like it would have a lot of those things. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
you know how people like hide their fridges with cabinet doors? That
Oh
feels
yeah.
mutable to me. That kind of thing.
Because it's like, yeah,
And it's like
can't really
hidden
pin it down.
functionality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
is very and Mercury is the trickster. So there'd probably be a lot of like you said, the bookshelves are the walls, like
Yeah.
using things like that. That's so fun. And then, oh my God, like Libra would just be so beautiful.
I feel like for me, what comes to mind are those sandstone houses that are like that beigey color, and then they have
Oh
all of those
yeah.
really perfect black windows, like you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about,
I think
and
so,
like a
yeah.
black roof and stuff. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
something like that for
Really
Libra.
lush garden.
Like they have all the flowers.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe Taurus would be more
I
flowery.
think Libra has a gardener, whereas
That makes sense.
Taurus is the
Yes,
gardener. It's probably
yes.
more of a functional garden that has like food and flowers and
Mm-hmm.
like this is where the honeybees go and then these are my beehives and like
Yeah.
a very like lush outdoor space but a little bit more like
Mm-hmm.
wild. Whereas Libra's is a lot more manicured. It has that like
Yes.
Saturnian
It's like the would be in Home
appreciation.
and Gardens type vibe.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And like you fresh cut your flowers for bouquets every day, like that kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I feel like Tauruses would look a little bit more lived in. There's a lot of
Yeah.
soft textures,
I feel like
very
a little bit more
homey. Like
vintage.
everyone would like, yeah, vintage, thrifted.
Mhm.
Everyone would like to like gather there, like
I
very
feel like
cozy.
lots of soft surfaces, like
Hmm.
lots of throw blankets. There's a fireplace wherever one can fit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
that
gosh.
kind of
And
thing.
in the kitchen, there's like a recipe book that is super well worn and like, has
Mhm.
aunts like generations worth of recipes in there. Oh,
Yeah. But then they just have the random closet full of shit that costs a lot of money that you don't expect them to have. And it's like,
there's a lot of like luxury items that are just ingrained into the surrounding like decor and
hmm
area. It's like, but it doesn't seem luxury, but you're like, wait a second,
yeah.
that's a fucking like, what is this, dude? You're like, oh, it
Just
opens
it's
up
just
like
here.
my couch, it opens up so I can hold all of my blankets. Like, and the couch also extends into a chaise. It's
Yeah, like you have
like
one of those ridiculous, like, $8,000 sectionals, and it's like, what?
definitely the like everyone can fall asleep on their couch.
Yes.
Everyone. Do you see me surrounded by my both of my squishmallows right now? Like this is
I just love that for you.
I do too because I don't have a real couch right now. So then whenever I
Oh,
sit on this, it's okay. I mean, I don't have space for it. So and then this
fair.
is better anyway because then people can sleep on it. See?
Functional.
Functional. Functional, but so comfy. Sometimes we sleep on this just because it's comfortable.
Yeah,
So then I
understandable.
just put these on either side of me when I want to feel like I'm on a couch.
I love that
It's
for
great.
you.
And they were gifts, which makes it even better.
That's even better. Our couch is from the 1970s, and it needs to be
It needs to be like
helped.
reupholstered. Oh,
It's like that old Chanel kind of
mm.
Chanel, whatever kind of fabric, and it's the one that
Mhm.
has like the wood parts
Probably
on
so
it.
beautiful though.
No, it's
No,
just old.
it's just that's so funny.
But it was
It's
free. So, you know what? We do not
if
shit on
it's
free
free,
in this house.
if it's free, it's for me.
Yeah. And you know what? Eventually I will get one of the big cloudy, puffy things.
Yes, exactly. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. We were gifted well, he helped someone move, so then we got a big old chair.
hmm
It's a big leather chair with big things on either side, but of course my cat only likes to scratch leather things.
Damn.
He will not use any scratching posts, just leather.
That is wild. You need to get him a
Bougie
little,
ass cat.
you could get him a little bit of leather hide and just like tie it up and let him have a little
I'm gonna
scratching
have
post of
to.
leather.
So what did I do? I covered it in a couch cover that's super soft and fuzzy that I have. So it's all just like
Excellent.
swathed and so now it's all such a cozy, soft little spot.
And now Ralph doesn't give a fuck about it.
No, he doesn't. He likes to sleep on it as he should.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Ralphie.
Pain in my
Cats are
ass.
ridiculous.
Cats are Saturnian and mercurial, I would argue.
Yeah, Mishka finally started back to normal eating after I changed her litter back to the old one. She was just pissed off.
She was just bad. Oh my
She was
god.
just protesting.
Speaking of cats, thank you. I have to text Austin and tell him to get cat food on the way home. Because otherwise I will be murdered by a cat. I gave him a full can yesterday. He usually gets a half because he also has a lot of dry food. Um, but I gave him a full because I didn't know if we were going to be gone overnight or not. So I like was just trying to prepare. Asshole ate the whole thing. I'm like, God damn it, one day, and I'm gonna have to feed you again today. I
Damn.
planned it perfectly. So yeah, I feel like for today that kind of wraps it up. We've talked a lot about this random transits and shit, but these are our pot thoughts. We get together, we chat
They're not
about
supposed to be organized. It's just supposed to
no.
be entertaining. But we were supposed to talk about delineation and how to delineate.
We did that though. We
We
did.
did do
We snuck
delineations.
it
We
in.
did.
We talked about the
So
little neighborhood metaphor. We'll have to do a
very
more in-depth one on that because I feel like that could have a lot of richness for like
yes.
going into each sign and like what the
Oh my
planets would
gosh,
act
yeah.
like in each of those houses. That'd
And
be fun.
watch out on our Twitter for some pictures of the houses of what we
Yes.
think each planet would have as a house because
Oh God, yeah. Gotta have
I
to make
just
a
think that'd be
fucking
cool.
Pinterest board. Oh,
They're just bored when.
pictures immediately. Immediately.
Okay, we also still have to do the D&D campaign. I just thought about that.
Yes, let's actually I'm going to put this out there to the world. If you
Okay.
are into astrology and you're into Dungeons and Dragons, follow
hmm
us, send us a DM cuz we do want to do a D&D campaign that has like astrology shit in it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm currently in my second campaign right now, which is super fun. We both have you play D&D.
Mhm.
You've done like bard stuff, and what do you
I
typically
didn't
play?
do I didn't do a bard. I did a ranger because I
Ooh,
wanted a bear.
because I wanted a
And
bear.
I've
You can
only done one campaign, but I did a tiefling ranger and I had
Oh
my little
hell yeah.
bear and it was real cool.
If you haven't made a tiefling ranger, you probably haven't actually played D&D because I've also
That's
made a
what I'm
tiefling
saying.
ranger.
It's the intro,
I
man.
haven't played her, but I did make her.
That's
Um
amazing.
yeah, so we're definitely wanting to do that. We're if you're into that, send us a message and maybe
Mhm.
we'll start a Discord or something and yeah, do that. But otherwise, thanks for listening, hanging out.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed along with us.
Let us know if you had any pot thoughts yourselves.
Oh yeah. I always love hearing people's pot thoughts.
I do
They're
too.
always so deep. Or
Mhm.
not, and then they're just
Or
fun.
not. True.
All right,
Right.
y'all. Bye.
Bye.